Welcome back in, everybody. We are talking about an incredibly startling statistic this morning. 1 in 4 girls being depressed at the age of 14. Let that sink in a little bit as I introduce Dr. Nicholas Westers, a clinical psychologist at Children's Health. Good morning.
Good morning.
Now, it's important to note this statistic. We're talking about 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 10 boys. There's kind of a caveat when we explain that, right?
Yeah, those statistics are based on self-report, meaning that's how they're feeling. And what we know is a lot of times parents may not know exactly how they're feeling, and it's important to be able to ask them about how they're feeling.
Right, and so let's talk about some of the signs of depression, signs of suicidal thoughts, that sort of thing, because this is something that we might all think, oh, we would know what that would look like, but there are some very specific signs, like, I mean, one obvious one, just feeling persistently sad.
Yes, and one of the most common questions I'm asked at Children's Health in my work there with parents is, how can I tell if this is typical teenage behavior and feelings versus something that's more problematic? And there are a few recommendations I make, and that's looking for a significant change in functioning or behavior that's lasting for more than just a few days, because everyone gets grumpy here and there, and also it negatively interferes with day-to-day functioning and day-to-day life.
And so you say to also bring this up in conversation. So what would be a natural way for a parent to do this if they're thinking, okay, this is something I need to chat with my child about?
Well, if one thing that they're observing their child is a change in behavior, such as a decrease in their academic performance, maybe all teenagers will get a bad grade here and there, but if suddenly they're starting to get bad grades consistently out of character, then that might be an opportunity for a parent to say, hey, this is a little bit unlike you. I'm wondering if something else might be going on. Or another example might be a teenager who oftentimes would like to sleep in or hard to wake up in the morning. But if this is going on, it's a change in behavior, it's going on for weeks at a time, that they can't get up out of bed, they're always tired, not able to concentrate in school. Maybe the parent can talk to them about it. It seems like you're having a more difficult time getting up in the morning or staying awake, and that's unlike you. I'm wondering if everything is okay.
And even those other conversations about just saying, hey, you know, I saw, you could even say this, you could, you know, I saw on the news today, wow, there was this interesting statistic. What do you think about that? Or perhaps ask, you know, do you have friends who have dealt with this?
That's a great way, a segue into a conversation about friends or seeing something on the news about statistics related to depression, being able to ask them. I know that teens are stressed more than they've ever been nowadays. How are you feeling with your stress, or how are your friends handling it? Do you find that they might experience depression or feel sad or depressed?
How do you prepare yourself for the response if your child says, yeah, you know, yeah, mom, yeah, dad, I do feel depressed?
Well, that's a great question that I often experience too at Children's Health in my work with the parents, and there are a few recommendations that I'll make with that. Is first, ask, like we were talking about, because a lot of times parents don't know that their child is suffering, but that's not because they're not good parents, it's just because teens are oftentimes good at hiding how they're feeling. 2, listen non-judgmentally. A lot of the times children will base their own assumptions about mental health and depression based on their parents, so a kind and empathic response from their parents in that given moment could be for them the difference between suffering alone and seeking help now if they are experiencing depression, or in the future. And then finally, be available to talk to them about it. Just as when we were talking about parents showing great interest in love and food and shelter for their child, they're great parents, but a child can still break their leg. So a teenager can still get great love and shelter and food and everything that they need physically from their parents, but still experience depression.
Got it. We've got to be open up to the possibility that our children could be dealing with this.
Yes.
Dr. Nicholas Westers, thank you for the insight and information.